Hello and welcome to another episode of Control Alt Access. You know the deal at this point. We talk about video game accessibility. I'm one of your hosts, Laura, and I'm here as ever with my lovely co-host, Arevya. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I am tired because, why do I always say I'm tired? Because I am chronically always tired. But there is often a reason for it. This time is because I spent my week in Malmö in Sweden on Nordic Games.
Yeah, how did that go?
That was actually really, really fun. It was a bit different event than what I normally travel to. Or full disclosure, transparency. I got paid to travel down there. Or I didn't get paid. I got paid the entrance ticket. So full transparency, since that's important.
Yeah.
So I traveled down there. And I've been to a lot of events. But this was the first, proper, maybe except for GA-Conf, that is only B2B, so business to business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone there is there for either business or education. They're all there to learn stuff and to find things out.
Yeah, this is not your regular gamer, consumer, end user coming down there. They will not go there, and the prices will not let them go there. This is businesses going to either find somebody to publish their game or find new games to publish. And then there is also masterclass and talks and booths, so you can watch games that is up and coming and talk to developers and different random things that has to do with access. It has to do with gaming. So Asus was there, new up and coming chair company that made ergonomical chairs, things like that.
It sounds like if you go to Gamescom but only go to the behind the scenes business areas and
100%.
not the public facing part of Gamescom.
Yeah, 100%. This is like Gamescom, nano Gamescom, mini Gamescom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was really, really fun. Ironically enough, I met all the game studios in Bergen, and two of them I have never met before, which is ironic that we met them in Malmö, semi-okay size city, compared to Bergen, which is a itty-bitty tiny city, and we haven't been able to meet up before. But I met them when I was there, and that was really, really nice to be able to tell people. A lot of people didn't know we had accessibility knowledge in our city, so a lot of them were really hyped to start working with me. So that is a good thing. And you, Laura, what have you been up to?
I am just in the midst of being ready for the Accessibility Summer Showcase, which by the time people watch this, if they're watching this the day it goes up, tomorrow, Friday, June 5th, 4 p.m. UK, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. If you're watching after that, it'll already be up on YouTube.
Yep.
YouTube or Twitch at Laura K Buzz, you can watch 50 plus minutes of accessible game trailers and explanations of how those games are accessible. And you can check that out with American and British Sign Language or audio descriptions.
Yep.
And at the time of recording this, I am in the midst of, I have most of the things. I just need to finish making them ready for the public.
Makes sense.
A little bit chaotic, but I'm doing well, and I have found time to play games despite the fact that deadline is looming.
Incredible. Shall we start with the games then?
Yeah, where do we want to start on games?
The game I worked on is out, so that is good.
It is. Tell us about Life Below. I've had a chance to play a little bit of this, but you have way more experience with this than I do. Tell us about that fantastic game you worked on.
So Life Below is now out. It is a city builder, or technically a reef builder. It is your own paced, your own difficulty city builder game where your mission is to regrow a reef. So you are the reef guardian, and your job is to city build or manage this reef to be able to build it up. And then you can do the typical city builder stuff of expanding, and you have hazards and stuff like that. I was at a talk with the founder of the studio, or the CEO of the studio now when I was at Nordic Game. And I actually got mentioned for they're really glad for the accessibility work. And this has tried where the mission was to be the most accessible city builder that is out there. So what you can do is that the game will always pause whenever something happens. If you have that setting on, you can speed it up, slow it down, pause whenever you want to. They have difficulty settings. The game is fully playable with only a mouse and one click. But you can also play it with controller. It is fully playable for people with color blindness. It's fully playable without audio, so no need for audio inputs. But they have a lot of audio sliders. There is a lot of introductions, so they have made sure that you know how to play it, even though you might not be as comfortable with city builders from before. And they also have a lot of these pause whenever something happens so that you can play comfortably. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There is most likely a lot more things.
There are definitely more things, and hey, people should check out the Accessibility Summer Showcase if they want to know about some of those more things.
Yes.
Hint, hint.
Yes.
But look, having seen the trailer that's going to be in the AA Showcase, one of my favorite things, and I talk about like the fact that I want to see more developers do this, so I should point it out when they do, is the fact that in their accessibility marketing, they've been really clear about the couple of things that they wanted to achieve but couldn't.
Yeah.
Rather than like trying to hide away from those things, they're like, look, there are certain areas we wanted to be accessible in and we weren't able to, that that we recognize that's not ideal, but we'd rather you know that than get disappointed not knowing it and picking the game up. And I think that's a great way to look at accessibility marketing.
And that was actually my idea, talking to their marketer and talking about when it comes to information around accessibility, it's really important to be neutral. Because that we set expectation with what we market. So that includes, do not never be shameful for what you do not have, because it takes money and time and knowledge and people, and that doesn't always go that far. But so be honest about it, but don't be shameful. I've seen some people, and a bit when we started doing this, the text that they had put out was a bit really, I'm sorry. And I sort of went, no, let's not do that. Be rather proud of what you have, but honest of what you do not have. So we neutralize things.
There's the other end of the spectrum as well, where I see a lot of people who are trying to make their games accessible and have done a lot with accessibility, and that will almost lean the other way, and they'll market it as like, we've made our game, we want our game to be accessible for everyone, playable for everyone. And I'm like, no, that's also not, don't set unreasonably high expectations, but also don't beat yourself up over the things you can't achieve. Simply inform, this is what we can do, these are the things we can't do. You can make the decision of whether that's enough for you to be able to play.
And
Life Below's great.
You liked it?
I'm really enjoying it. I've not had as much time as I would like to with it, but it's been a really nice chill game to play in little bursts of time in between other things. Because this week has been so busy with it's been so much exporting and uploading videos and then having to wait for things to export before I can keep working. It's been a really nice one to have on the gaming handheld PC gaming systems, just to play in little bits and then pause while I set another video exporting and then come back to it. It's just been a little chill oasis the last few days.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I do like about it, and I'm proud about it. Also, I think I'm not going to say that I have done everything accessibility in this game, because I have not. I was a consultant, and there was a really good foundation. And one of the things that I found to be really fun was that there was also a lot of these accidental accessibility things. So when Steve, they were the main accessibility person on this game, had made a way where when you try to play something, it will be turned into one color when you play something, not a color if it cannot be placed, and a third color if it's almost able to be placed. So you can place it down, but you don't have the energy to do it. The energy doesn't stretch out to that areas, things like that.
Yeah, and here is fine, but some other characteristic will need sorting out.
Yes, and in that, they had put in placeholders text, sort of ipsum luton or whatever it's called, to sort of just remind the other devs what this was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I pointed out hey, this is actually really smart, because now you can have the color things, but by just having this extra text on top of it, you make it accessible for people that are colorblind or might struggle with the text or with the color in this.
And it's just cognitive-wise remembering what that means. You just spell it out.
And it's like these in-between things that has been really fun working with them, where they have a good foundation. We started changing a lot of things and ended up what it is today. So I'm really, really proud. It is right now very positive on Steam. My name is in the end credit, which is insane. I have like an actual name in a credit in a game. I'm so happy. Oh, I can't wait. I want to do this again, Laura. Again.
It's only a matter of time, and it's gonna happen again. We're gonna get you in so many game credits. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna be great. But yeah, no, it's a wonderful game, and I'm so happy for you, and I'm so glad that game's come out, and that the dev team, that you had such a positive time working with that dev team. It's so lovely to hear.
They were amazing.
Yay!
Shall we talk a bit about the others then?
Yeah. I've played one of the big games this week. I'm just double checking. I don't know if you've played this one. Actually, yeah, we've both played a thing since last time. Should we talk about Directive 8020?
Yeah, we can do that. So Directive 8020, again, transparent. I got the code sent to me by PlayStation, so I've been given this code. It is a horror game set in space. It is a choose-your-own-adventure horror game, which I really appreciate, which have a butt-ton of accessibility.
So a lot of the stuff, this is part of the Dark Pictures anthology, so this is the series of like anthology horror that's from the Until Dawn, the Quarry devs, and a lot of this is building on the work that they've done on their past choose-your-own-adventure games, so stuff like being able to turn button holds into shorter button holds or toggles, or button mashing into button holds, or automatically solve your QuickTime events, or QuickTime events are always the same button, or QuickTime events have no time limit on them, but if you press the wrong button, they'll still fail. There's so many like different ways to customize the timing relating elements of that, so that you, if you want, have basically as long as you want to think about what you want to do, react the way you want to react to things. And that's even before like the new thing that this one does that I think is really interesting, which is at any time you can, if you're playing it on PlayStation, I don't know what the control is on other things, you can click in the touchpad button to have the game go, okay, here's a flowchart of every choice in the game and where you're at. You can just rewind to any, like, basically in, like, 3 to 5 minute increments, you can rewind to any point in the game to retry a thing you failed, or make a different choice if you don't like how a choice played out. And I love how transparent it is about, like, if I want to make a different choice and I don't know how to activate that different choice, I hover over the grey space on the flowchart, and it's like, oh yeah, if you do this choice back in this chapter, and then come to this chapter and make this choice, that will open that choice up. I'm like, oh, thank you so much.
And also, they're really transparent with like where you can find the hidden secrets and stuff. They let you hover over and say, oh, you're missing this amount of secret. And truth be told, though, like I used it a lot because me and my husband are trying to like save everyone. So we are trying to do like a perfect run.
I let one person die, and that was a kind of deliberate choice. I was right near the end, and I was like, look, I'm taking a gamble with you. If I let you come through that door, you might kill all of the people I like.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna let you die on that side of the door because I don't like you that much.
Yes.
Other than that, I saved everyone.
And so normally I do not like this style of rewind, but in this setting, in this game, I do like it, because the normal rewind that I like is the one where you just hold in a button and then it just goes like a tape wired back in a sort of like a VHS, just rolling back, sort of a YouTube video, whatever, you roll it back. But in this, since you choose chapters, we actually experienced that we did a mistake at the end of a chapter or end of a sequence, and it took us 15 minutes to come back. And I like that there is a bit of a penalty in this game, because it matches the game sequence. And we talked about this a bunch of times. Like, this is why I personally do not like when accessibility is like a standard, because for me, this shows that you need to have the accessibility that fits your game. And I think this way of doing it, this way of like choosing in the skill tree, sort of, or whatever you want to call it, tree, is a much more fitting to the vibe, to the values, to the like whatever the game is.
Having finished this game, allowing this kind of experience the same story again but slightly different as a mechanic makes a lot of sense. Having finished the narrative, I think it is a very sensible way to handle this.
Yes.
But yeah, I really liked a lot of the characters. I thought I was pretty confident where the plot was going in the first like 2/3, and then one other big reveal happened that changed everything, and I was like, okay, well done, you got me. I did not see that coming. Well done.
Yeah.
It's a good horror.
Yeah, I just in general really enjoyed it. And for everybody listening or watching, this game has full transparency of the accessibility on their webpage, which is again, I just can't do anything else than give an applause to the horror genre. I do not know. I laugh about it every time, but they are giving us access to be frightened out of our ass. So thank you for giving me the possibility to cry. I don't know. I think it's incredible.
I'm so glad that horror is such a more accessible genre than I would anticipate it being from the outside.
Yeah, it is. It talks a lot about the horror genre, and it also is ironic, but horror genre is actually one of the spaces I have often found really good humans that just like to like feel like they are on edge or when they play games, but they are amazing humans. So I think this
exactly. Other things I've been playing, I am right at the end. I am like, I would guess probably 10 minutes from the end of playing 007 First Light. This is one I got sent a review code for. I just want to say as a side note, I got sent a review code for this by the accessibility lead at IO Interactive, who I just want to say the way they reached out to accessibility people, because I'm assuming you probably got a similar message to the one I did, was really appreciated. Where they were like, hey, we're sorry that we didn't get code out to accessibility people the same time as the rest of the review wave. We're really aware of that, and we're going to work on that going forward, but we want to get code to you and like keep in touch with us in the future. And I was like, that's really nice. I appreciate that kind of acknowledgement.
That is really nice. It actually has to be also individual mails, because that is not what the mail I got. The reason I did for IO Studio, IO Interactives, which is the studio behind this game, I did a talk from them for like 3 years ago or something, 2 to 3 years ago. And due to that, Joshua sent me a message going like, hey, as like thanks for you to talk to our team and to talk to us some years ago. Here is a code to the game, so you can see like, not that I have been in any ways in the game or helped with the game. He just said, since the general talk helped us to understand more, here is a view of what it has ended up with.
Their reach out to me, as I understand it, was because they did preview events for this game like 6 weeks ago for like 4 hours of the game, and as far as I can tell, I'm the only person that talked about the game's accessibility in any of the previews.
Cool.
And they reached out. They were like, "Thank you so much for that feedback and for the things that you shared there." And like they're definitely paying attention to like who is doing accessibility conversations and trying to be like, hey, in future. Yeah, we want to get game to you, and I really appreciate that.
Joshua had a talk on GA-Conf some years ago, and is an amazing person. I highly recommend, if you're in the industry like us, to connect with them, because like doing good things are changing up and having a different focus and taking that studio in a whole new direction, and it's really cool to have a side view for.
I don't know if you've had a chance to play it yet at all.
No, I've just started it. I just needed to see
Okay.
the credits
Yeah.
to see everybody who was joined and what
Yeah.
accessibility they had.
Yeah, so I think that the best way to talk about the accessibility in First Light is to compare it to something like the last Hitman game that released.
Yeah,
Because like there is a lot of things that like were common requests for accessibility in that last Hitman that have made their way into this game, and
that's so
it's been
cool.
really appreciated. A lot of that stuff is things like improved subtitle options, things like being able to have subtitles for ambient dialogue for people who are like having conversations around you that aren't the main conversations, much better options for like dialogue size, opacity of backgrounds, a lot of those kind of things. um there is a lot of very tweakable difficulty stuff in the accessibility menu, stuff for visual comfort for motion sickness players. This is one that I've seen a few games start doing in the last few years, and I'm always really glad to see it, is replacing flashbangs to, instead of flashing the whole screen white, they'll flash the whole screen black,
Yes.
which is a really good feature. But also, I like the Hitman games in theory, but I really struggle to play them because, like, that they're a genre of game that is quite forgiving if you are seen from stealth, and you can play this James Bond game that way if you want, but you can also set things in this game so that it is basically a power fantasy, and that's how I've been playing it, and it's been a lot. It's been so fun. As someone that really sucks at managing stealth, and then B, being good enough with a gun if I'm seen to fight my way out of a scene, I really like that I can basically just set the enemies to be like, there's a lot of them, but if I just mash the punch button, there'll be bullets flying around me, and I'll somehow stay alive. And like, because that feels like James Bond to me. I'm
That
not
I was
dodging the.
just
I'm
going to
I'm
say.
I'm just mashing the punch button and like absolutely karate chopping all the people. I don't care that they have guns. I'm gonna fist fight them to death.
That
And
is the old school fantasy of like 007, and it
I
fits. It just, I am, as you said, I'm so glad they've taken Hitman and now they can work on this series because it
yeah.
fits so better having these
Yeah,
kind of accessibility.
right. Because that's the thing. Like, the stuff I enjoy out of Hitman, which is that you put me in a big sandbox environment, there's probably 5 or 6 ways that I could reach that objective. I get to pick how I'm gonna get to that thing I know I need to achieve.
Yeah.
That stuff from Hitman is still there, and it like that was never the bit that I found hard in Hitman, and that's still intact. But the bits where it's like, oh, I'm trying to sneak through a place, oh, I've been seen and I have to fight. Yeah, Agent 47, I can kind of understand he's meant to be a world-class hitman. He should be talented, like, have to actually be good to fight his way out of that situation.
Yeah.
James Bond is nothing can, to me, those films are nothing can kill him and he's indestructible and he'll save
Yeah.
the day. And I want that fantasy, and I'm not that good with my hands. And this game lets me be the cool, powerful James Bond and not just die every 2 seconds because I'm not good at shooting.
Yes.
So I'm having a lot of fun with First Light, and it's so nice to see such a big step forward. Like, it's nice seeing they have accessibility at first boot. They have a little first boot accessibility menu, like a dedicated accessibility menu of its own in the menu settings now. All the terminology for everything is what I would expect it to be. Such a big step forward for that studio, and
Yeah.
I'm so happy about it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Have you played anything else you want to talk about this week?
I did play like a small little indie game called PlateUp. It is one of those friend slop games that I love that I've played.
Tell
with
me
my...
about it. Tell me about
Yeah.
another friend slop. Also, side note, I had to teach my wife recently the term friend slop. She hadn't heard it, so I had to. I taught her and I gave her examples, and then for a couple of days afterwards, she would occasionally just be she'd be looking at a game on Steam and go, "Is this one a friend slop?" I'd give her the yes or no.
Absolutely love it. No, it's one of those. It's actually made by Yogscast team.
Okay.
So I did not know that, but I saw that when I logged on the other day. It is one of those you can either play it single player or multiplayer, and you are a small little doll-sized thing. It's top down, and you
Yeah.
have a restaurant. So you every time you start the game, you decide what you're going to cook and what you are going to the layout of the restaurant. And then
Yeah.
you start with a table and some, like, if you're going to cook beef, you will start with like a hob and a counter, a freezer with meat, and then
Hmm.
and a sink to do the dishwashing. And then you make food and serve food in timed. So it's timed.
Yeah.
This game is hard. Like, when I have not been traveling, my hands have been in the splinters for like every single evening because I
Yeah.
play my hands full of pain because I crushed the controller so much in the end because it everything happened so fast. I should not
Yeah.
play this game, but I have been doing it because it is slightly addictive in the fun way. And I have now just learned how to make sandwiches, and I cannot wait to play it
Ooh.
again. I just need to wait tomorrow when I have the hand form to actually do it and not getting
Yeah.
really, really ill. So it needs to be after work.
Uh,
But yeah, it doesn't have that much accessibility. The only cool thing it does have, though, is that it has color blind accessibility. Because, like, say when
yeah.
you cook a steak, you can have it raw, medium, well done. So you can turn on that these the first letter of those words are on top of the steak. So when you're cooking it, you will see, okay, now it's raw, now it's medium, now it's well done.
Yeah.
So that's cool accessibility.
Nice. I played a couple of other things that I can talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
There's a new Nintendo smartphone game that came out this week, called Pictonico, which is kind of like WarioWare on your phone, but it's using photos on your phone of faces. So it's
Oh.
all like very quick micro games where like you're doing touchscreen stuff to, for example, I don't know, fire a ball so it sticks in someone's nostril, or open and close their mouth with with your finger to make them eat food quickly, or things of that nature. From an ADHD perspective, I've been enjoying this game in that it is you will never be doing more than 10 mini games in a row. That's if you do a full successful run. That's like 10 mini games. So like a minute and a half at most, probably less than that. You'll have a good exit point to put the game down. It's very good for like, I want every 5 to 10 seconds just something new happening at me and a different face that I'm doing silly things with. Little splash of dopamine and then an easy point to close the game. Um, it is a game that is very faces reliant, and I don't know how that's going to be for people with things like face blindness, for example.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the mini games that are like, a lot of them are about manipulating faces, but a lot of them are also about like memory retention. Like, there's 4 faces on a roller coaster that go by, and then you've got to answer a question about like who was sat next to the teddy bear or something.
Yeah.
Things that require like quick information intake and output. It will never get faster on you without your say so. It only speeds up the speed of the minigames if you deliberately pick a higher level to play it on. And it does tell you, when you pick a level, it tells you what minigames will show up, what your 10 minigames are going to be before you start, so you know if you're replaying a level, you kind of have a bit of a cognitive heads up of what to expect. It is fun. It is chaotic. It doesn't have a predatory microtransaction system to it. There are 2 packs of micro games, and they're both one-time purchases. Like, I think at most you can spend like, I think it's like £7 or £8 on this game. I've had fun with it. It is very, in the way that WarioWare is. It's very, we're going to throw things at you really fast and give you very little respite. I do appreciate that as you play it, you earn coins, and the only thing coins are useful for is if you run out of hearts while trying to do a 10 minigame run, you could spend some of your coins to keep going even though you ran out of hearts, to just keep going. And I appreciate that. There's nothing else to spend the coins on, and therefore I've always had enough coins that if I want, I could just keep playing and not let the fact I failed a couple of minigames stop me, which I appreciate.
I saw the intro to the game now, and I have to also say, in a world of AI, I am glad there is a game where it just stocks your picture and it's like a badly cropped out picture frame, the old school way of doing things. I like that.
It is just wonky cutouts of your own photos. kind of jankily smushed and squished, and I do
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the old Nintendo me things, and I like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, did you have anything else you'd played this week you wanted to talk about?
And no. So I my I did play a lot of the Moomin Troll. We talked about it last time. My
Yeah,
accessibility review is now out of it, but
yeah, it
other than
is.
that, it was mostly travels and watching way too much TikTok and Attack on Titan again. So yeah.
Ooh. I've got one other I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I've been starting to play Mina the Hollower,
Yeah.
which is another game I got sent code for this week. I like a lot about this game, but I do need to critique something accessibility wise with it, which
Yeah.
the way that this game looks is if you ever any of you ever played the Game Boy Color Zelda games that Capcom made,
Yeah.
Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, this looks like one of those, but you're playing as a little mouse. It's a Game Boy Color aesthetic, top-down Zelda looking game. The thing I needed to wrap my head around with it is not a Zelda game in the way you play it. It is a Dark Souls.
Yeah.
A lot of the bosses are, rather than having your like dodge roll to get out the way of enemies, you duck underground, and if you hold the button down you can stay underground and move around for a few seconds before you pop up. You don't take damage while you're underground. You have to kind of think about that dodge roll a little differently to a Dark Souls dodge, because a Dark Souls dodge is you wait until like the moment the weapon's about to hit you and you dodge at the last possible second because you only get like a few frames of invincibility. This is more, as soon as you know the attack's coming, preemptively duck under the ground because it takes you a second to like jump and dive. But you've got much longer under the ground safe from damage, and
Yeah.
you can use it to quickly move and get away. It is definitely tricky in the realm of like a Souls game, but there are a few things they've done that I do appreciate that make this game more manageable than some Souls games. One of which is, instead of dropping all of your bones, which are your level up currency, when you die, you have a number of these spirit orbs. I forget what they're called, what the official name for them is. You start with one, and like if you die, you lose the orb, you go back to the checkpoint, but you don't lose any of your bones, so you still have them for leveling up. Um, and if you defeat the enemy that killed you, you get that orb back.
Yeah.
It's only if you die enough times that you run out of orbs and then you die again that you drop your bones. So you've got more of a safety net, and you can unlock more of these as you go, so that you're allowed to die a few, like you could die 2 or 3 times and not lose any of your level up currency, and then go, okay, I've died 2 or 3 times. Maybe I should spend this currency before this death. Maybe this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I also appreciate that it has a lot of difficulty modifying settings, both for making it harder and making it easier.
Yeah.
The big problem is this game is really bad with its menu design. I knew that those difficulty modifying settings were in the game. I couldn't find them. To the point that I started worrying that they were like a thing you had to unlock later in the game or something. I was like, I was trying to look up tutorials, like, where do I find them? I eventually found them. The menu's just really badly laid out, to the point that if someone didn't know for certain they were in there, it would be very easy for someone to go, I'm really struggling with this game.
Yeah.
I'll look and see if there's any options. Doesn't look like it. Oh well, I guess this game's just not for me. I think that's a really big failing that the game has right now, because it has so many tools available to help make it more manageable. I really think those need to be, like, the game could really do with, even if not like putting them somewhere different, showcasing to the player, if you want to make the game easier or harder, here's where you do it.
Yeah.
Something like when you die, you go back to a little burrow, and there's a couple of machines in there, like a level up machine and a choose your weapon box or whatever. There could be a thing in there that's like, one of the machines in there is, do you want to activate any of the easier or harder modifiers?
Yeah.
Something like that that's really easy to spot and hard to miss, because it's a real shame that all these settings are there and that they're not as advertised to players as they could be.
Yeah. And also, they do not have any accessibility information on their webpage, and that would be a good way to have it if people are searching it up, because then they would easily find it.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, from here, should we talk about some of the newsy bits that have happened this week?
Ooh, yes. The first one is a bit older one now when we're talking about this.
Which one's this?
This is the introducing the PlayStation Studio Accessibility Community Council that was talked about on Global Accessibility Awareness Day, which this year was 21st of May 2026. It is not technically like accessibility in games. It is a accessibility everywhere day where you talk about it. And this year, Sony Interactive Entertainment said that they they aim to build a future for players of all abilities, and they have now made an accessibility panel or a PlayStation Studio Accessibility Community Console. And if there is some pictures on screen right now, you will see a lot of familiar faces. But Sightless Combat is one of them. Cameron, Amy, Dr. Amy, and Steve Saylor, and so on and so on. Amazing people. Yeah. So you can read more about that on Sony Interactive's own webpage.
Yep. I definitely get the impression from looking at who they've invited that, if nothing else, Sony has a focused commitment going forwards on continuing to try and make more of their games blind player accessible. Seems pretty obvious looking at the list. I will be very curious to see what comes of this new council. From what we've heard, they have done some stuff on Saros when that came out, so that's cool. I look forward to seeing if this sort of grows over time. It's neat to see like a formal initiative and to see a commitment to regularly getting accessibility folks in.
Yeah, I think it is a really, really, really good starting point, but I also do hope that it will grow in the future to be a bit more diverse in every sense of way, both in accessibility and in other ways as well. So I also know that these things need to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And now I'm hoping to see it grow. Yes. And I think we will see a lot of good things. These people are veterans in the industry, and they have a lot of good knowledge that will bring the studio forward quite a lot if the studio listen to them. Crossing fingers.
That's always the thing as well.
That's always the thing. So crossing fingers.
Your PlayStation, you can afford to listen to them.
Yes.
And do some stuff.
Yes. Crossing fingers, and good luck to them.
Talking some more about big studios, Ubisoft has now started implementing the Accessible Games Initiative's tags. Yay. So they're now using the standardized tag language. Hooray! Which I know Xbox is using the standardized language. Ubisoft is now. I don't know if anyone else is like fully committed to using the tags currently. But I'm glad to see more of the signatories on the initiative go. We've done all of the things internally, language-wise, we need to be able to do this. Now we're using the same language as we've all agreed going forward we're going to use on these things.
Yes. There is one more, or I have one more, which is Twitch. There's Twitch, while we record this, there is TwitchCon, or it's maybe be done today. But TwitchCon has been this weekend, and we now have 3 new Twitch Unity guilds. So these are guilds that are inside of Twitch. You can apply to join them, and the 3 new guilds are the Disability Guild, the Asian Guild, and the Indigenous Guild. There are a way to apply. I have already applied, but you also do need to do the survey that are on your Twitch dashboard to be able to apply for this. So just FYI, you both have to fill out the form on Twitch's new pages, or wherever Twitch you find them online, they have written about this. You have to fill out that form and the survey on your Twitch dashboard. Both of them need to be filled out.
I will say, with this news, I did have a moment of going, wait, didn't this happen before? Am I not already a part of this guild?
Yes.
No. Twitch previously created a guild called the Limitless Talent Collection.
Yes.
Which is the one that I am in. Which is a guild celebrating creators with disabilities, which is different from the Disability Guild.
Yes. So that is, we were sometimes featured on like a shelf on Twitch.
Yeah.
This one, I think, will have a bit more to it. I hope so.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But
Yeah.
it's one of those. Twitch occasionally does this where they'll do a bit of news and I'll go, didn't we already do this? No, okay, this is slightly different news you're doing now. I
Slightly
see.
different news.
Oh, Twitch, you are like that sometimes.
Oh, yes.
One that I wanted to throw in here, just to reference that it's out there because this is a piece that's been a while in the working.
Yeah.
Over on jeffreybunting.co.uk, who I've talked about Jeffrey before. This is someone I host a Star Trek podcast with here on YouTube. Also does very good work on accessibility. Has published a piece called "The Cost of Admission: Discrimination in the Video Game Accessibility Community." I'm quoted in some places in this alongside some other people who've shared quotes with Jeffrey over the 2 years that he's been working on this piece and trying to find it a home. It is not a fun read, but I think it is an important read about some of the issues that the gaming accessibility space currently has with being very white centric, not always being great around women or trans people, and being often quite single issue in their activism.
Yeah.
And talking about these ways that like some of the ideas that are sort of grandfathered into the space are hindering the ability for certain voices to be heard.
Yeah.
Which I think it's a great piece. I'm really glad with how it turned out, and I'm glad that Jeffrey felt able to finally publish it. So yeah, if you're up for a heavy read, that's one that exists now.
Yeah. Important read, but heavy read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is everything we've got for this week.
Yeah.
Think so. Yeah. Arevya, where are you out on the internet if people want to find you?
You can find me wherever. Search up my name, Arevya. I am everywhere except for TikTok because somebody stole my name. I do have out a piece now on 5 accessible games I found on Nordic Game and why I found them accessible. I found like a game you can play with just your joystick. I found game that had like insane text style, not text size. I found a lot of cool things, so check that out. And also like I went to Nordic Game. This is what you can expect. Also, I have my accessibility review of Moomin Troll up now. Please go and give it a like. It's such a long time since I've been able to do anything YouTube, and now I'm back at it, and I will continue.
Check it out.
I need the encouragement,
right
so please.
Do it.
So yeah, Laura, where can I find you?
I'm at Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere on the internet. Patreon's the one that pays the bills and lets me keep doing all of the stuff that I do. It's also the best place just to sign up for free if you just want to get emails every time I post something. The Accessibility Summer Showcase, that's the big one. If it's in the future or if it's in the past for you, June 5th at 4 p.m. UK, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. You can check out 50 plus minutes of accessible game trailers explaining their accessibility. We've got American Sign Language, British Sign Language, audio descriptions, whatever you need. Please go check it out, share it around. It is a lot of work to put this together every year, and I would really love to see this grow over time, and the only way that happens is if you check it out and then tell other people to check it out. So the Accessibility Summer Showcase, I really hope people enjoy this year's one. I put a lot of work into it. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for watching, and we will be back in a couple of weeks with another episode.
Bye. Bye.